Happy New Year. Doghouse Podcast is back. Took a little hiatus. I was on honeymoon in South Africa and was able to watch the Georgia game. We were disappointing loss to Ole Miss, but glad to be back. Got Sammy Jacobs from Hoosier Huddle. This is part 2. We had another one a couple of weeks ago, but technical difficulties, we'll say. But how we doing today, Sammy?
We're doing great. Funny story. I also went to South Africa on my honeymoon, and it was awesome.
Good deal. Where'd you go?
We went to Ngala. It's like right outside of Kruger National Park.
Okay.
Yeah. Hold on. My dog's trying to get into dog food.
Oh, no problem at all. Yeah, so we went to Kruger National Park and Cape Town. It was an awesome trip. Really, really good. If anybody ever gets a chance to do it, I would advise it. Also, make sure to like, subscribe, share the Doghouse Podcast. Really appreciate it. Been getting some really good comments from shorts while I was over there in South Africa. So really great engagement. Yeah, while Sammy's doing that, Georgia disappointing loss to Ole Miss.
Yeah, I'm back.
We had some shots at the end there, but Ole Miss was the better team, outplayed us, and made a lot of adjustments in the second half. So it was a little early exit. I felt at least we would make advance to the next round, but it is what it is. But Sammy got his Indiana Hoosiers really excited going against Miami, the U national championship game. I'm sure a couple years ago you never thought you'd say that, but for all those maybe people that haven't followed Indiana and everything that's happened, how do you see Signetti and how he's turned this program completely around? I think you told me last time that until this year, they hadn't won a bowl game since 1991 and losing his program recently. So how do you feel like he's turned it around? And
I mean, he everybody's seen the video clip of him on literally the day he took the job or the day he was announced as the head coach, stepped onto the basketball court at Assembly Hall in Bloomington, and said, well, Purdue sucks, but so does Michigan and Ohio State. And, every time I think Gus Johnson does a game on TV or any announcer is like, yeah, I was there. You turn to the other guy and say, who is this crazy person? But man, he speaks the truth. He said it. They went up to the Big Ten title game in 2023, and he said, hey, we'll be here next year. Now he's a year late for that, but they made it, and his attitude changed the program. Like you said, Indiana was the losingest program in FBS history. They're now, I think, the second losingest. I don't know. I got to check Wikipedia, but they're the second losingest. Northwestern took over that spot, so that's a good list to get off of. I mean, it's all the graphics that you see on TV. Losing his program, haven't beaten Ohio State since 1988, hadn't won a bowl game since 1991, hadn't been to the Rose Bowl since 1968, hadn't won an outright Big Ten title since 1945. All those are done. They've done all that. They beat Ohio State in the Big Ten title game. They won an outright Big Ten title. They won the Rose Bowl over Alabama. They won the Peach Bowl over Oregon. So now you're got 2 bowl wins and you've got one more game for all the marbles.
Yeah, awesome year. Did want to ask, what would you think, in your opinion, is the sweetest or the best win, the most enjoyable win for you this year?
It's the Ohio State win,
right.
I think. You get it. You're Georgia people, so you know how nice it is to beat Bama,
sure.
and all those things. But Ohio State has been kicking our tails for 38 years.
Wow.
And they're a neighboring state. They're obnoxious. They're just like in your face. You guys suck. We're going to take over your stadium so you could take your stadium picture on the flyover day. And it was just like, yes, finally. My wife actually sat by herself in the Ohio State section of that game, and I was very proud that she did not get arrested. She grew up on the border. She hates Ohio State and all that stuff. So, yeah, that was probably the most satisfying win. The Penn State game is up there too, just on the sheer excitement and just awesomeness of that last drive. But the cathartic feeling of winning the Big Ten with 80% of IU fans in that building and beating that Ohio State team. I mean, that meant a ton.
Yeah, anytime beat Ohio State is very impressive, great win. And also, you might have broke them a little bit, man. They lost their end up Miami beating them too, so they lost back-to-back losses. That was surprising.
Yeah, their offensive coordinator took the USF job, and who knows if that played a part in it. It might have, but IU gave the blueprint. I mean, Texas kind of did at the beginning of the year too, but starting a freshman quarterback is tough, and maybe Ohio State was that paper tiger after playing Texas, and they didn't really. The teams that they played in the Big Ten weren't great. And then, it was a really good game. It was 13-10.
Mm-hmm.
Came down to like a missed field goal, maybe a couple of mistakes, but it's back and forth. Both teams deserve to be on the field. And, I don't know what happened against Miami. Maybe it's the layoff. Maybe it was, Miami played their best game of the year too. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that was it. So looking, I just saw the highlights of this because it was definitely because of the time difference when I was traveling. But very impressive win, blows out, donkey stomps them, Oregon for the second time, 56-22. Mendoza, man, 5 touchdowns, only a 177, but 17 out of 20 getting it done there. You guys ran the ball on them 185 yards. I saw some of the highlights. Pick 6 at the beginning of the game always helps. And then was it Dante Moore with the ball? Kind of slipped out of his hand. That was led to a touchdown. So you guys just jumped up on them. And it was at 35-7 at halftime.
Yeah,
So
it was another IU home game. It was maybe 90% IU fans. If you're in Atlanta, there's a ton of IU alumni in the area. IU jumped all over them. The crowd pop on that pick 6. First play of the game from scrimmage. I sit in the radio booth next, and we have the window open. And I'm sitting next to the play-by-play guy, and I can't hear. People are coming up to me at halftime. Hey, what was the call? What was Don Fisher's call on the pick 6? I said, I don't know, man. I couldn't hear him. I said it was just noise. That was great. Fernando Mendoza's been on a heater, man. He's got 5 incompletions in 2 bowl games and 8 touchdown passes. Like, that's unreal. You can't like that's. Yeah, I think that's helped him. I really think that it's helped take the pressure off of it. You saw he struggled at Purdue. He struggled a little bit against Ohio State. But I think winning it has taken all that pressure to where he could focus on football again. And that's what this guy does. The defense put more in the blender. He had that fumble. He was going back to pass, and the ball, as he was like winding up, hits the running back's leg, and Oregon had the 2 starting running backs out. So it was like a third string guy who might, if you know football, if you're off by an inch on a play, you could really screw things up. And that might have been the reason why the running back was where he was. Then there was another sack fumble that sets up a touchdown. And it was just once. Rolling. Yeah. I put in our group text, I said, here comes the avalanche. Once it was like 14-7. And they fumbled it. I said, Avalanche is coming. And that's what IU does. They just go on these runs. It's almost like a basketball run where they just go on a 28-0 run, and you're just buried in snow.
Yeah, definitely awesome win. Anytime you beat Dan Lanning, but you beat him twice this year. So yeah, it's going, and then going into, we're talking about the national championship game coming here. How about health wise? How are you guys looking? Any injuries coming off that, or going in pretty good?
We should be going in with the same guys who we went into the Peach Bowl with.
Mhm.
Of course, IU lost Stephen Daly after the Ohio State game. Just a really unfortunate circumstance. Was like got this far off the ground, high fiving fans in the stands, and he like tore up his knee, which leads me to believe he was injured before that
Yeah.
during the game. But yeah, they should be healthy and getting healthier. You have 10 days between this game
Yeah.
and the last one. So, yeah, no injury concerns on IU's part.
Yep. Always a good sign coming in. I know you guys are dialed in. Looks like it's going to be Monday, January 19th, 7:30 on ESPN. The U Miami coming to town. Carson Beck, Georgia fans definitely familiar with him. I know since him coming over, looks like he might get the last laugh on this. Georgia fans sitting at home while he goes and plays for national title, and he actually was on Georgia's team as a backup QB for 2 national titles, so he's going to be at least part of 3. Looks like the point spread started out 7.5, 8.5 now, which is very interesting. Miami beating Ohio State convincingly by 10. Also beat Texas A&M in a rock fight. Got a really good defense. Carson Beck's kind of maybe a little bit more than the game manager, but he's done okay. They got I forget his name, the explosive wide receiver for Miami. But how you feeling about this game? Also, looks like is it going to be more of an Indiana pro Indiana crowd, even though it is in Hard Rock in the backyard for Miami? How you feeling about that?
I don't know. Miami fans think it's going to be a home game. I think it'll be more 50-50 split. I mean, if we've learned anything over these playoffs, it's that IU fans are going to travel. It's a once in a generation kind of opportunity right now, and people are going to spend money to go. They had 80% of the crowd at the Rose Bowl. You had 90% of the crowd at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. They're not going to shy away from the get-in prices on the secondary market, which are outrageous. I think they finally dropped under $3,000 today
Wow.
to get to walk in the door. But IU fans are going to travel. They sold out their allotment of 20,000 for their season ticket holders going down. So as long as they didn't sell on the secondary market to Miami fans, there should be, it should be, I'd say close to 50-50. It won't be a straight Miami home game, but it is the advantage of playing in Miami for Miami is you don't have to travel. There's no wear and tear on that. You stay in your own bed or whatever the hotel is you stay for home games. Everything's very familiar. And that if you're a creature of habit, that really, really helps. For IU, you have to travel down. You do all this media stuff. You bust the stadium. You're not, it's not going to be super hot. I think the high of game day is 69. The low for nighttime is like 55 degrees. So you're not going to get one of those 80 degrees at 9 o'clock at night with 95% humidity where you're just dying in Florida. So we'll see. It should be a good atmosphere, and we'll see. We'll see what happens with the crowd. I think it'll be. I think it'll. You'll see a kind of like Christmas colors. Was it green and red?
Right. Yeah, there it is. The U. Also, Michael Irvin. He's been very animated on the sidelines, getting his belt out and whipping all the teams' jerseys. He'll be pumped up there. I'm sure it'll have Ed Reed, and it'll have all the Miami alumni there.
Yep.
I think from a Georgia fan watching you guys are the most complete, consistent team. Miami does have a pretty good defense. They might hang around in the first half, but I just see you guys are a well-oiled buzzsaw, man. You guys are just running through this. Mendoza's on a heater, like you said, hot streak. And you guys play complete football, don't turn the ball over, and little or no penalties. So, yeah, I think you guys are looking pretty good. So I was going to see what kind of matchups or maybe how about this? Which ones you feel pretty good about, maybe kind of worried about going into the game?
Like you said, I think team discipline and mistakes. We'll start with the big picture here. I think that favors IU.
Mhm.
They don't beat themselves, and that's 90% of the game is not beating yourself. And IU learned their lesson from SEC refs last week. Like they just didn't show up in the second half. Um, and hopefully it's not an SEC crew for this game because that was miserable. Um, and I know you're laughing because you guys all complain about the SEC refs as well. And we complain about Big Ten refs, but they made Big Ten refs look like the best refs on the planet.
Right.
But yeah, so they don't turn the ball over all that much. They don't. There's no like killer penalties. They're very sound in what they do, and I said this on other podcasts that I was a guest on. Like nothing really changes for IU, and we went to practice, and you could tell. Like if I took away the Rose Bowl or college playoff insignias on people's gear and told you this was like a random spring practice in April, you probably would have believed me. That's just there is no difference between a padded spring practice and the fourth practice getting ready for the Rose Bowl. It's they're just locked in all the time. They practice for about an hour and 45 minutes. They come in, get the work done, and get out. And they just don't make mistakes. And Miami does. That's the big picture thing is will Miami limit the mistakes of shooting themselves in the foot? Because you go into the game, and this is in life too. If you need to be perfect, you're going to force the issue and make a mistake. Um, and that's what I think the advantage IU has is that, listen, they don't make mistakes and they're going to force you to try and be perfect. And you're going to try and sneak a ball in on D'Angelo Pons and it's going to get intercepted. Or you're going to hold the ball on a little too long and get sacked or something like that. Or, they'll this illusion defense is, I think, what Dan Lanning called IU's defense. This illusion defense might cause a holding penalty on, second and 9, which causes it to be second and 19, or there's a rough in the punter or something like that. IU just doesn't make those mistakes all that often. And then, getting into offense and defense, I think Indiana's receivers are as good as any in the country. They might not blow you away with their speed and athleticism, but the emergence of Charlie Becker, who was a all-state hurdle runner in Tennessee, he's also a pretty damn good receiver as well. He's come on basically since the Penn State game. A couple guys got hurt. He got his chance, and they just haven't been able to take him off the field. He has great hands. He could blow the top off the defense, and he's Mendoza's roommate, so they have that connection as well. Elijah Surratt, I thought he had his 2 best catches of either the year or of his career at IU, and they weren't like, oh my god, one-handed diving catches. They were hands out in front of you with the defender on you, just squeezing the ball like you can't stop it. Back shoulder throw catches where the defender couldn't defend it any better. And he had a couple of those. Omar Cooper's getting healthier, and he looks back to 100%. And then Mendoza has 8 touchdown passes and 5 interceptions. If your kid was playing NCAA football on this, you tell them to turn the difficulty up, right? And then Miami's secondary, believe, is dealing with some injuries, and then Xavier Lucas will be out for the first half because of a targeting penalty against Ole Miss. So they're down. You're already down 1 starter at corner, and they really haven't been great in pass defense all year. So as long as IU can hold Ruben Bain and the other defensive end in check, and you do that by running the ball, they should be okay. And then on the flip side, IU has to heat up Carson Beck. You guys know better than us. If you put pressure on him, he is going to fold.
Yeah.
And I rewatched the Notre Dame game, and something very minor happened. I forgot it was either, somebody was lined up wrong or there's delay of game, and he just lost it. He threw a fit on the field, was pointing at people, blaming people, and all that stuff. So, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. That just seems like what Carson Beck does is throw guys on the bus. So, if you could get pressure on him, and Indiana does a very good. I've seen all the graphics that Miami's offensive line outweighs them by like 50 or 60 pounds. Well, I've heard that for 8 weeks. We heard it twice against Oregon. We heard it against Ohio State, heard it against Iowa and Illinois. And Indiana's defense has some quick, slithery guys who could get into the backfield. And they have a defensive coordinator who's an absolute psychopath, like an absolute psychopath. And he had a comment the other week. He was like, yeah, I just sit there watching film going, what if I move this guy here? What would happen if I move this guy here? Like into places that nobody would ever do. It's like, who does this? So, they'll get pressure on him. And then, of course, the secondary is pretty good, too. I mean, Indiana's going to have to stop the run and run the ball. That's the key to the game. To me is, if IU could run the ball, keep their pass rush at bay, and if they could stop Fletcher and that running game, they should be all right.
Yeah, should be interesting. Yeah, and as a Georgia fan, we're waiting on Carson Beck to be Carson Beck of old, and he's been a little bit of the game manager. Didn't blow your hair back in a couple of these games, but he is. You got to give it to him. He is getting the win and leading them to it. And on that last touchdown against Ole Miss, he ran around the end over there, which I think kind of shocked a lot of people. He was looking to throw it and took it to the house.
Well, there's nobody there. I could have scored a touchdown on that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. All right, Sammy, what's your score prediction? You're on the hot seat here. What you got?
Oh man, this is the really hot seat, which is nice because it's 2 degrees here.
8.5.
Yeah, it's 8.5. I think it's a closer game than that. I'll say 24-21 IU. Just grab your heart medicine and all that stuff. I wouldn't be shocked if IU wins by covers, but just I think Miami's hot at the right time too, and that plays a part into it. It'll go back and forth, so I think it's a close game. Maybe it plays out like the Notre Dame game, but yeah, I'm going to go 24-21 Indiana.
Okay, I like it. Respecting the U. Yeah, I think you guys. I'm gonna go back to the most complete team. You guys have been battle tested. Win the Ohio State game, 13-10. Also resilient and coming back and winning Penn State. So it's not one of these. You guys hadn't been in a fist fight and been punched in the nose a little bit. So you got resilience. Miami, good in the trenches on both sides of the ball. Mendoza's better than Beck, but I think you guys cover. I like 31-21 Indiana. Hoisting
I was reading one of our writers' previews that we haven't published yet, and he said, spoiler alert, 31-20 IU. But I do think it's an emotional hedge too. So 24-21. There might be more points in there too, but it'll be
a good game. I think it'll be 4 quarters.
Yeah,
for sure.
We'll see.
And I did want to mention, because it's going on for everybody, any transfer portal news for you guys, any distractions on that end? And do you think that, I know Mendoza, you probably lose some guys. Do you think this is an Indiana team that'll be around in the playoffs, national championship contender going forward, or you guys just kind of had the nucleus, or how do you see that?
Well, Indiana now has as of like 4:00 this afternoon, the number 1 transfer portal class in the country. So there are some guys that on that ranking haven't been updated to moving out, but they're not like superstars or anything, but it does affect aggregates and all that stuff. But yeah, you're bringing in Josh Hoover, quarterback, who's one of the top quarterbacks on the in the transfer portal, played at TCU last year, was originally an IU commit before Nick Sheridan got fired at IU. You bring in, they just got Joe Brunner today from Wisconsin. You bring in Nick Marsh, who I love. I think this Nick Marsh was, outside of Jeremiah Smith, might have been the best wide receiver in the Big Ten. And he's got 2 years left. Yeah, he's really good. You bring in Nick Marsh. He's a 4-star transfer, almost a 5-star transfer. Then you get AJ Harris, a 4-star transfer corner from Penn State. You get a couple defensive ends from Kansas State who are solid. Shaz Preston, who's a former Alabama wide receiver, went to Tulane. Kind of fits that Omar Cooper role. You get Turbo Richard. If IU does not sell Turbo Dick T-shirts,
that's a great name.
They are missing out on the reason why you have NIL. Like, that's the reason why you have NIL, right? It's to sell Turbo Dick T-shirts.
Right.
So he is a running back from Boston College. And then you get Joshua Burnham, who's at Notre Dame, and then a couple other guys coming in as well. The biggest loss that they had are a couple defensive backs and Jaja Boyd and Dontre Henderson. The one to watch is, what does Alberto Mendoza do? Does he transfer out with Josh Hoover coming in, or does he stay and try to battle for that position, starting spot? The coaching staff loves him. He's only a redshirt freshman, so he's got a lot of time. He's improved so much after just 2 years in the program. He was a better prospect than Fernando coming out of high school. He already thinks he's better than Fernando, but that could be little brother syndrome as well. But he's got the tools. We'll see if he stays. And then, of course, with NFL guys declaring, if Carter Smith comes back and Omar Cooper come back, who both can and forego the NFL, this team should be right back up there in the mix to make the playoff. And who knows how many teams are going to make the playoff? It could be a 50-team playoff by next year. But if it stays the same format, they should be in the mix to get into that 12-team playoff and once again, be in the mix for the Big Ten title. They do play Ohio State at home this year during the regular season, so that's somebody's taking a loss there.
Yeah. Looks like you guys are here to stay. Working that transfer portal, you got to do it these days. Georgia's doing it as well. I think they got 7-8 guys. But Georgia's a very young team. Oh, yeah, that other one I want to mention, that reading that stat on you guys, are an average age of 23 years old, very mature team, which is good these days.
Yeah, I mean, it's all thrown off when you have like a 28-year-old Australian punter. Like, we're going to have a sophomore punter from Australia who's 30 next year. Like, come on. Like, that, you got to take out that. If you take it, and I think we got some Gaelic football guy who could be 40. Who knows? So if you take out that, I think the average age goes down. But yeah, that's what Cignetti said. They have a very mature football team who knows how to practice, who knows how to run these things, who've Pat Coogan came in from Notre Dame last year as a veteran transfer, and everybody's going to talk about, Fernando's the best transfer. Pat Coogan's the best transfer. He solidified that offensive line. He brought that championship mentality to the offense. I mean, he was picking up fumbles 18 yards downfield against Oregon. Mendoza runs for 20 yards, spin move, fumbles, and all of a sudden I used to get the ball back, and it's big number 78's down there picking up the ball, doing the finger gun first down. You're like, okay, why is he down there?
Right.
But that's the effort and the finish the play mentality that he plays with. This is his second fumble recovery for first down this year too. So
yeah, man, should be a good one. Also, Sammy, appreciate you coming on again. How do we follow you guys on social media?
Yeah, you can follow us on Twitter at Hoosier_Huddle. It has all our links to our website and podcasts and all that stuff as well. That's our Yeah, well, I have it on dark mode, so it looks totally different in light mode. Yeah, follow us on Hoosier_Huddle. We like to interact with people on there as well. As long as Oregon fans have been our favorite fans to jab with on social media. They're fantastic. But yeah, come follow us on Hoosier Huddle. Get ready for the game. We'll have our big previews. We're starting to get them out now, but we'll have our big in-depth previews here in the next couple days because inexplicably this game is on a Monday night.
Right. Yeah, no, that's been an ongoing debate. Why not Saturday? But I'm sure you gotta deal with the NFL,
So what?
of course. Also, check them out on their YouTube. Is YouTube channel is growing as well, 793 and growing, and that's impressive. Having I think it's over 14,000 on Twitter. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're closing in on 15,000 on Twitter. Closing in.
Awesome,
So
check them out over there.
All right. Thanks, Trey.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you coming on again. It's great to connect with Sammy through the College Huddle. Make sure to like, subscribe, share the Doghouse podcast. Got some great content coming up. Talk about some transfer portal. Good luck to you guys, Sammy.
All right. Thanks, Trey. Have a good night.
Too. Thank you.